Well, hello everybody. It's mid-March, 2023. I'm sure you all know. Season has been kind of a long start. It started back in November, etc. But for me personally, this season has been an entirely long season with some very good points. The good points are that we've gotten out to more subscribers. I think that's great. Appreciate everybody who has tuned in and kind of found out that we do have good things to say and easy ways to help you guys shred ahead, because that's what the channel is about. Unfortunately for me this year, I've not been able to shred ahead due to an injury to my right knee, which I'm still going through almost 8 months later, waiting on an MRI to find out what's really going on inside the knee, which is preventing me from doing the best I can to produce videos for you guys and get those shots out. So we have problems getting the things done. So therefore, a lot of the videos that we've done this season are more of a dialogue, etc. But in the word of dialogue, I think that a lot of you who I've met on the hills, usually on the bunny hills or somewhere this year, certainly on the bunny hills, because I've got off them that much, found out that within a matter of short minutes, I could analyze some of the things you're doing and give you a quick fix to how to operate that board in a more effective and efficient way and put a smile on your face. And it's been both snowboarders and skiers, a lot of people that I've met, 5 minutes as opposed to an hour and a half, 2 hour class. That doesn't always hit the target of what it intends to do. And that is because in the world of snow sports teaching nowadays, we don't have a lot of people who put their life and their passion into it the way Ted and I do and a couple other channels and stuff. Because it is us. It's not just what we do, it's us. And that passion translates to wanting to give you the best. And a lot of these snow sports industries on the mountains, what's best for them? Well, cha-ching, cha-ching, the cash register ringing and bringing you back for additional training or whatever. It's all about the money, folks. You notice we don't have any patrons. We don't do that. We don't solicit money. We don't ask for money. All we want to do is give back to you before we're gone and hope that you will pass it on to your children and your children's children, and you will become passionate about the paradise of winter sports. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. I'll be showing a few clips here shortly about how the board actually operates in the realm of angles. And I hope you'll enjoy it and stay with us and help us find new subscribers, because we're the real deal. So I'm going to sign out on that, and we'll be putting some other clips in going forward. Again, we appreciate all of you. We think it's great that you're subscribing. We love what we do. I've seen the smiles on little guy coming down in the frame right now is a right foot forward rider, and he's in the fall line, but the fall line drifts to the left side of the screen, so the board is sliding there. Why? Because he puts his butt back and is not actually elevating his heels, which would be done by sticking his belly button out or a little more lean to the right side of this screen. That, my friends, is a fix of that little problem you're watching right now. Next is a left foot forward rider coming down. The fix for this rider, again, will be posture. A more upright position without the butt tucked. That will save her from what's about to happen next. Watch it. Stand up. This next section here is coming down. Notice that the board is passing underneath the body. Posture is upright. The knees and the ankles are working. The noise that you hear is called edge pressure. And during that, you have control by using the snow to push back at you. This is what we're trying to do, folks. So for a better understanding of snowboards itself and how they operate and function, take a look, and I did a little video which I'll add in with other clips on this, marking out the lines of operation of a snowboard. So you'll notice that this center line running up the board, goes up to the note where it says nose. And that runs right down to the center of the snowboard. So that is the line that the body should be aligned to when using the snowboard from tip to tail. All right, in the center here, where I put side to side, is where you have heel and toe or right and left side of the board. Looking at the board from a lower position, you can see on top of the table here that the board has some elevation. So that's showing the camber underneath the board itself. So that camber and that length, and I'm going to get up here in a minute and tip it for you, will show you some of the functions. So from one side to the other with the elevation here, if I get heavy on the heels, the board does this. And you can see that in fact the toe side of my board, indicated by my bindings, is lifted up. So this would be you on the heel side of your board on the uphill side of the mountain. When dropping this side while looking down the mountain, you are going on your nose because you have elevated the heels as shown back here. That will create a problem and cause you to catch that edge and go over. So we always operate from the uphill side, which is where my hand is now, on this side, etc. So moving along the board, to get a board to start to turn, we must change the elevation through the center line by dropping the board down, which elevates the board through the tail. That starts the turn. Then we end up in the middle of that fulcrum here. And when we finish the turn, we end up back on this part of the board back here, showing that the front has got lighter. From there you can see I could move that foot forward, putting weight on this foot. You can see the other part is light and I could move it forward. So I could walk down the mountain essentially by shifting from the left to the right and letting the board slide forward, slide forward. So that's very important about the board itself. Areas that cause concern are boots that are too big to fit across the board properly. Another major area of concern in board use and board alignment is the amount of overhang of heel and toe. So you can look at the bottom of my board here and you can see that pretty much in that front binding area we have probably an equal amount of toe and heel overhanging here. So you've got that, you've got the toe, and backing up you can see it's pretty equal. So having a board set up out of this area will cause problems with those lines that were on top of the board a minute ago. So looking at the boot placement on the board at the present time, you should be able to clearly see that there's too much toe hanging out on the toe side of the board, even though it's not in the binding. So this is a large boot on a board that is too narrow. That would be what you would see. The most predominant that you see is the other, which is the opposite, where we have a huge amount of heel hanging over the board with very little toe meeting the other side. This is pretty common with children, women, people with smaller feet, because it is not centered across the board, creates a problem. It only allows you to operate one side of the board more effectively than the other, and this is pretty common. So you really want to have what I showed in the beginning of this clip, which is equal toe and heel overhang in order to get the most benefit out of your board. So think about that when you set it up or when you rent one. So we'll walk up a little bit here and examine some tracks. These in fact were my tracks and another instructor's track this morning. I don't call myself an instructor, but I suppose I could because I do teach and sometimes I actually get paid for that teaching. Anyhow, these tracks will show you clearly a heel movement and a toe movement, or right and left. You can see those nice shapes and cuts. Some of those are toe size for some people, heel size for others. What you're seeing is what we call in the business edge pressure, primarily in a form of carving, which is definitely what these turns are here, because you can see them ride through the bottom of the turn, up through the middle, and that line stays relatively thin. That is created by learning edge pressure, which you should learn for braking purposes on your first day snowboarding. And to do that, my recommendation is that you run some type of diagonal line across the slope rather than pointing it down, such as these lines show, because your edge angles are going to be a little more minimal and they're going to show more of a skidded track than these fine lines you're looking at now, which is normal. I'm going to walk up to this one a little further here, directly in front of me, and you can see that that middle portion has a little more snow pushed out on it before it returns to a nice thin track. So that was a lower edge angle in that area, and that is where we start. We start learning to skid the board, and from that skid we learn to engage the edge, usually on the hillside while looking down the mountain, or the toe side while looking up the mountain. So my last bit of advice is, whatever maneuver you're doing, you will be leaning up the mountain. So on my toe side, left foot forward or right, I will be leaning up the mountain. Left or right foot facing down the mountain, I will still be leaning up the mountain. That is behind you. So that is always behind you, with my head turning to the direction of the lead foot to follow that vehicle wherever it may be going. So have a nice day. Take these concepts under your belt. Maybe talk about them, put them on your phone so that you can remember the ideas or the thought processes and shred ahead.